This is the Retirement Key Podcast with Pat Volk, financial advisor of Abish Financial Services.
What I enjoy is really looking out for folks and helping them retire successfully and really put a little bit of ease in their life.
You've worked hard your whole life to earn and save. Now you need a plan to make that money work hard for you.
It's a totally different day and age now. You have to embrace the change, but I've always said it's about the plan. It's not about the products.
Pat and the entire team at Abish Financial want to help you unlock the keys to your retirement.
And I'm Heather Branch here with financial advisor Pat Volk of Abish Financial Services to talk about the things that you can be working on now as you prepare for your financial future, thinking about your retirement goal line as you get closer to that goal line, or if you are already in retirement. There is so much to consider now as we Americans look at 20, 30, 40 years of time in this space. And so with all those considerations, of course, come questions and working to figure out how to make it all puzzle piece together correctly for your future. That's what Pat and the entire team at Abish Financial Services are here to help you do within a plan of your own. And not just that, but also, I said off the air, the life, liberty, pursuit of happiness aspect of everything that's involved in this process. It's not just the money stuff, Pat. We all have lives here together. I love the idea. Even on the Abish Financial Services website, it talks about how, well, one, you have 5 children. Let's save that conversation for another time because I know that is in its own story. But it says here you are an avid movie fan. So how avid does avid mean? Like what kind of movie fandomness do you fall under?
Like obsessive, compulsive.
Really?
Yes, I actually have a Spotify movie soundtrack list.
Okay.
It's longer than 24 hours.
So this is like your playlist of just movies?
It's my playlist of movie soundtracks, and I can identify the movie and I can identify the composer.
Is it just the theme music or is it like this? Because, soundtracks, they'll play like real songs.
Yeah, no, it's usually just the theme music.
That's interesting.
It is. Because honestly, I truly believe some of the best music that's being composed is being composed for movies at this point. If you think of...
there's one big composer who did like Star Wars and...
John Williams.
Is that... Okay.
That's John Williams. Beautiful compositions.
Yeah.
And then you would hear, others that have come up behind him. Thomas Newman, I think, is one. So when I really can sit back and I know the movie, I know who the composer is, and oftentimes I'll watch a film, and I just watched one over the holidays, The Banshees of Inisherin. And
never even heard of it.
It's probably going to get the best picture.
Okay.
At least I would hope it is.
Okay.
It was directed by McDonough. He had made 3 Billboards Outside of Ebbing, Missouri a number of years ago. That, I believe, won Best Picture. And he also made In Bruges. Excellent films.
Okay.
He's traditionally a playwright.
Okay.
And I'm listening to the soundtrack. I'm like, this sounds so familiar.
Yeah.
And so I looked up the composer, and I'm like, oh, I have it. It sounds so similar to A Serious Man, which is actually a Coen Brothers film. And it was the exact same composer. So that's how deep dive I
you've proven
go.
yourself. You are standing true to the claim of being an avid movie fan. I will
Maybe
give
a little strange.
No. Listen, I love when people are that into things. I think it's so interesting. I love it when people can just really nerd out on something because it's just, that's what life is about. Like the stuff that really fills you up.
I love stories. I love the emotion behind them.
Yeah.
And I love a popcorn film. I'll watch the Marvel movies. I get a big kick out of them. Yeah. But I love a film with real meaning and purpose, something that sticks with you, something that you can relate to.
Okay, so what about true crime stories then? Do you like those?
My twins are into those.
Okay. I don't, they stress me out too much. I can't watch, or even like everything now is true crime podcasts are huge.
Yeah. It's the new reality TV.
It really stresses me out, though. I can't listen to him because then I'm like, whoop, this is real. Like, this has happened. I'm like lying awake at night, like waiting for the boogeyman to come get me. But okay, so here's a little insider tip. If you are a fan of true crime on TV, there's this Netflix hack that you can try. Apparently, I have not tried this, so I'm not standing testament to this. I'm just telling you what I've read. If you punch the numbers 9875 in the search box. Apparently, hundreds of crime shows and movies will pop up right there in front of you for you to choose from. It's one of the little Netflix hacks that the internet gurus have given to us. But thinking about the work that you do, Pat, in your office when you are not knee-deep into trying to discover the latest movie soundtrack fascination that you've uncovered, the work that goes into creating and building these financial and retirement plans for the folks that come into the Abish Financial Services offices, there is so many things involved, but there are actually also some little known hacks that you, being the professional that you are, can implement into these plans. One is called the Rule of 55 that lets you apparently withdraw money from a 401k beginning at the age of 55. So what's the catch on this? Is it a smart idea? Is it a good retirement hack that we should know about?
Well, is it a smart idea? I'm going to say, I definitively believe in a right and a wrong, but I'm going to say in this particular case, is it good or is it bad?
Okay.
And I think in life, every decision we make has a good and a bad.
Sure.
I would say the caution point is you don't want to be dipping into your retirement prematurely.
Okay.
If you meet the eligibility for the Rule of 55, that tells me you need to access your retirement monies prior to the traditional 59 and a half, if not even older.
Okay.
That's why it's called an exception.
Okay.
So I would say, something's gone on here. Why do you need the access to these funds prematurely? Did you lose a job? Is there an extraordinary expense? What's happening? And like any case, let's not dip into the retirement funds for any reason. It better be a very extreme case. Hopefully put it off to retirement.
Got it.
Good. What would be the good of it? If you do need the funds, it's simply a way of accessing monies within a 401k plan. Again, this is not attributable to an IRA. It is exclusive to a 401k. And there's actually a few more rules of its exclusivity that I'd want to kind of, highlight here. But if you do need the dollars, it's a simple way of avoiding the 10% penalty for early withdrawal. That's the only thing you're avoiding here. You're not avoiding income taxes. You're just avoiding the 10% penalty for early withdrawal prior to 59 and a half.
Okay.
Now, there are about 10 exceptions to paying the 10% penalty. If you look at the IRS tax form 5329, you can actually see them. The Rule of 55 is just one of the 10 exceptions. There are some very specific rules here. What we're looking at is it has to be on a 401k plan that you had just participated in and you have separated from service with that company.
Okay.
So this is not going to apply to a 401k plan that I may have contributed and separated from a company 10 years ago.
Okay.
It does not apply. So if I find myself, I've been working, I've lost my job, I am 57 years of age, I may want to dip into the 401k plan I had just been participating in.
Okay.
And because I am not yet 59 and a half, but I am over 55, I would be able to take a distribution from that plan, pay taxes, but avoid the 10% penalty for early withdrawal.
Got it.
I actually have a real life example of this situation.
Okay.
Back in 2020, when the COVID pandemic started up, great friend. She works in the charitable, area.
Not-for-profit, got it.
Not-for-profit. And she ended up changing careers. And unfortunately, once COVID hit, she found herself out of a job. And I had always remembered, she called me and she's like, Pat, should I be rolling my 401k over to an IRA? And I remember, generally I would say there's great opportunities to roll a 401k to an IRA.
Yeah.
But I remember taking a pause on this one. And I said, Melissa, you're 56. She's divorced, had 2 kids. I said, with everything going on in the economy, I don't know. Why don't you hold it? Just hold it in the 401k, because if you lost your job, if you do not find employment right away, not that I want you to dip into the 401k, but if you need to pay the bills, if you need to pay the mortgage, you're going to have to do something like that.
Especially with the uncertainty that was so surrounding that phase of our lives, that time.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So, it was, thank God, and a rule she did not have to take advantage of, but I was not about to close a door on her from a planning point of view.
Okay.
So, she eventually did go on, found another opportunity, and is doing, amazing at this point. But those are examples where, just take a moment of pause. Is there a rush? Should I be doing something? Everyone likes to remain optimistic, but, we've spoken about, are we entering into a recession? Mm-hmm. And this is where I would say, moving forward, let's just take a moment of pause and think about what we're doing. There's not necessarily a need to make a rush, and really study the rules. I think any financial advisor should be confident in understanding what these rules are and should be providing you education on these rules so you can do the best thing for yourself and for your family. We don't want to necessarily go into these accounts, but if we need to, let's do so in the most tax efficient way possible.
Obviously, just like every other part of the retirement planning process, this rule of 55 is one that, handled with care, I think is how we should approach taking advantage of the opportunities it might present. What other situations, opportunities, nuances should we know about it?
Well, it's called the Rule of 55, and if you actually read it through, it says as long as you are age 55 or older in the year you separated from service. Mm-hmm. My birthday's in December, so I may be 54 when I separated from service, but I am going to be 55 in the year I separated from service.
Aha.
So you have a little bit of an edge, depending if you happen to be born at the latter part of the year, that you may be able to avail yourself of the Rule of 55.
Interesting to know how many, it's not interesting, not surprising, maybe a little bit baffling and laughable to think about how just this one rule of 55 has so many rules of its own. But that's exactly the point about seeking help, guidance, and assistance in this process of planning for your financial future, planning for your retirement. There are so many opportunities that you may not realize that you have. There are so many rules that you may not realize you're accidentally breaking. But the goal of everyone at Abish Financial Services is to help you create a plan so that you know the direction you're headed. You are moving into these years with more confidence that you will be able to live out your retirement as you want. And that's what Pat and the team at Abish Financial Services can help you do. So if you have questions about your 401ks, about rules that you might have heard of in the news or from friends, opportunities, advantages, let's begin this conversation. Sit down, talk about what your goals are, talk about your questions, and get to work understanding these things and building a plan of your own. You can begin anytime by visiting retirementkeyradio.com.
Thanks for listening to the Retirement Key Podcast. Be sure to listen to the Retirement Key Radio Show, Saturdays and Sundays on WMAL.
Investment advisory services offered through Abish Financial Wealth Management, LLC, number 310633, a registered investment advisor firm. Financial professionals are not licensed in all 50 states. To find out if Abish Financial Services is licensed in your state, please call 571-577-9968. Abish Financial Services is not affiliated with nor endorsed by the Social Security Administration or any other government agency and does not provide legal or tax advice. Annuity guarantees rely solely on the financial strength and claims paying ability of the issuing insurance company. By contacting us, you may be provided with information about insurance and annuity products offered through Abish Financial Services, Inc., Virginia Insurance License number 127820.